Hi all, welcome to this video on integrated circuits. In the previous video, we were discussing about wafer fabrication techniques. And in wafer fabrication, we were focusing on the planar process and the various techniques involved in planar process like oxidation, lithography, etc. Today, we are going to wind up that session regarding wafer fabrication by seeing two more techniques called epitaxy and interconnections. So let's start the discussion. The sixth technology that we are going to see is epitaxy. This is a process of controlled growth of a crystalline doped layer of silicon on a single crystal substrate. So what does this mean? So this is a controlled growth of crystalline doped silicon. So you have a crystalline doped silicon that is grown on a wafer in a controlled fashion. So we have seen two techniques in the previous video, that is ion implantation and diffusion, where you will be making a region doped into n-type or p-type by introducing impurities. So that is somewhat, you can call it as like a deposition, but this is not like that. In that case, you could increase the amount of dopant concentration in the silicon wafer. But what if you want to decrease the dopant concentration in silicon wafer? So epitaxy gives an answer to that. So if you want to have a lower concentration or another type, so for example, if you want to have N type over P type, then you can go for epitaxy, where you will be growing a layer of silicon on top of a already existing wafer, and you can have any kind of doping while it is grown. So this is the process of epitaxy, and there are three methods used for performing epitaxy. One is a vapor phase epitaxy, where all the components, all the gases will be provided in vapor phase. All the reactions will be in vapor phase. The second one is liquid phase and molecular beam epitaxy, and we'll be considering the vapor phase epitaxy here. So this is the reaction chamber. This is a setup for vapor phase epitaxy, where you have a reaction chamber and it contains a graphite board which hosts the silicon wafers on it. And this entire setup will be heated using RF induction coils. And this quartz tube will be used to provide whatever dopant you need to give into this, and that is provided with hydrogen gas. Reaction is like this: silicon chloride will be reacting with hydrogen gas, and it will generate silicon, elemental silicon, and hydrochloric acid. So these are all in gaseous form. So silicon chloride, hydrogen, and hydrochloric acid, all these three are in gaseous form. Only silicon is a solid, and this is going to condense on the wafers that are present here in a controlled fashion. So there can be dopants also introduced alongside, and dopants as well as the silicon will be deposited here. And the features in this technique is reaction temperature is just around 1200 degrees Celsius. And if the reaction temperature is lesser than the melting point of silicon. So one advantage of this technology is we are not melting the wafer. We are keeping the wafer as it is in the solid state, but even if it is in the solid state, we are trying to grow a layer of silicon without making it reach the melting point of silicon. So that is done at a lower reaction temperature. So the melting point of silicon is 1411.85 degrees Celsius, but our reaction temperature is 1200. In the case of Sokolsky process and all, we were having higher temperature, higher than the melting point of silicon. The reaction furnace was higher than having a temperature higher than the melting point of silicon. Here the temperature is lesser than the melting point, so it is essentially a solid. And the thickness of the layer that is grown will be around 3 to 30 millimeter, with a doping density and thickness accuracy around less than 2%. So these are the features of epitaxial growth. And this is a pictorial representation of what is happening here. So you have the initial substrate where the gases come and react and deposit silicon, elemental silicon on top of it. And there can be small amounts of dopants also introduced. So those dopant atoms also get locked into the crystal structure. And you get a layer like this, epitaxial layer on top of the substrate. So this is the process of epitaxy. You can grow a layer of silicon on top of any kind of doped wafer that you have already. That's about epitaxy, and the next thing is metallization and interconnection, which is our seventh and final type of procedure that is used in planar process. And this is the process of creating metallic interconnections for the fabricated ICs. So we have done fabrication with the ICs, and now what is resting in our hands is to make interconnections or connections between components as well as connections between the outside world and the IC chip. So for that purpose, we will be using metal like aluminum for silicon. That is because aluminum is easy to evaporate, it is easily etchable, and it is inexpensive, and it makes a good ohmic contact with the silicon. So what is a good ohmic contact? Ohmic contact between two materials, that is silicon and a metal. What we require here is a ohmic contact with less resistance. And there can be contacts called Schottky contacts, and that is the basis of Schottky diodes. And there can be contacts like PN junctions. PN junctions are different types of materials contacting at a junction. So that kind of problem should not, that happens to be a problem when you are trying to get an ohmic contact. So that kind of problem should not occur. That is why aluminum happens to be the good pair with the silicon material. So that is why aluminum is chosen. And there are procedures for making aluminum getting deposited onto the surface of a wafer, and that is done basically using a vacuum chamber, where you have a vacuum chamber with a substrate holder, and aluminum will be vaporized using some kind of method, and method can be either resistance heating. So it is a technique where you will be using a tungsten filament, and on tungsten filament you will be having aluminum coated onto it. So whenever the tungsten gets heated up, tungsten doesn't burn out, but aluminum gets vaporized, and that aluminum vapors will be contacting with the substrate, and it gets deposited onto the substrate. And there is one method to make metallization. The second method is electron beam heating, where you will be holding the aluminum using a crucible here, and electrons will be accelerated and from a source and try to hit the target, which is our aluminum. So that aluminum will be knocked off, and that aluminum vapors will go and deposit over the substrate. The third one is RS sputtering. Sputtering is a technique where you will be using ions to bombard the aluminum and knock it off and make vapors out of aluminum solid targets, and thus that will reach the substrate and gets coated. So that is the third method of use of coating or doing metallization. And the features of this is aluminum line thickness will be around 0.5 micrometer. The interconnections between components are made on top of silicon dioxide layer. So after having all other steps done, if you are fabricating a transistor, you need to fabricate the base, emitter, collector, etc. So this will be done, and millions of transistors will be simultaneously fabricated on a single wafer. And these transistors should have necessary ohmic contacts or metal outputs from metallic connections from the base, emitter, and collector regions. So that is taken using interconnections of metal. And if you want to have a connection between one transistor to the other transistor, as in the case of many ICs, then what you require is a connection line of metal coming from one part of a circuit to the other part of circuit, and that should be happening on top of a silicon dioxide layer. So it essentially is a 3-layer thing, One is our active elements. One layer hosts our active elements like transistors. The second layer will be silicon dioxide layer acting as an insulator to separate it from the third layer, which is interconnection layers. So interconnection layers will be used to connect between 2, 3 or millions of transistors, etc. And components will be isolated using silicon dioxide. And there will be openings made on silicon dioxide layers so that there can be contact points between silicon and the interconnection layer. So interconnection layers can be connected through the silicon dioxide layer using holes made into the silicon dioxide layer. And interconnection lines, those lines that are coming out can terminate at aluminum pads called bonding pads. So these bonding pads will be acting as the interface between the external environment and the IC chip. So that is what is said here, and there can be multiple layers of interconnection separated by silicon dioxide layer. So for example, in the case of GPUs or CPUs, one single layer of interconnection will not be sufficient. So you'll be having 6 or 7 or 10, 12 layers of silicon dioxide and separating each interconnection layer. So one interconnection layer will be separated by another silicon dioxide layer, and on top of that there will be another silicon dioxide layer. Like that, there will be many layers of interconnection layers separated by silicon dioxide. So this is the process of metallization and interconnections, where you will be having metallic connectivity between the outside world and as well as between the same IC, between points in the same IC chip. So with that, we come to the end of the processes involved in planar process, the techniques involved in planar process. Now we come to the fourth stage of IC. As let me have a quick recap. For the first stage is material preparation. The second stage is crystal growing, and the third stage is wafer fabrication. And the fourth stage is testing, bonding, and packaging. Okay. And the testing, bonding, packaging stage starts with testing, and it is done using a technique called a multiple point probe testing, where you can see in the picture there are probes used to probe between two or multiple points on a wafer. So the wafer, each individual die will be tested for different points, whether for resistance checks will be there or voltage checks will be there, whatever it is, it will be done. And what all regions pass the test, they will be identified, and those identified or good quality or things will be separated from the faulty regions in the wafer by wafer dicing technique, where we will be cutting out the wafer into smaller individual IC chips, and that can be done using a diamond cutter or using laser. And each of those small portions will be going into a single IC chip. So this is our IC chip, and these IC chips will be connected to the external world using gold wire bonds. So this process of connecting it to the outside world is called bonding. So after bonding, it will be sealed in a package, and the packages can be many types. Here you can see PDIP, DIP, etc., TO220, TO92, etc. So there are a lot of packages, and there are some exotic packages also. Basically, packages come into two. One is called through the hole package. So these are all through the hole package, by which you can you'll be connecting all these ICs inside on a PCB. So the PCB will be having many holes through which you can insert the legs. So if you are inserting legs through PCB and soldering it on the other side of the PCB, then those kind of packages are called through the hole packages. And there are ICs called surface mountable packages, where there will not be any hole. Instead, on one side itself, the ICs legs will be glued onto the PCB using solder, and that kind of technique is called surface mountable devices. And surface mountable ICs are available like QFN, TQFN, TQFP, etc. SOP. Then additionally, the processors and GPUs will be coming in ball grid array or pin grid array packages. That is just a package where you will be having all the pins coming under the package, so in an array fashion, or it can be some kind of a ball shaped thing or a hemispherical shaped thing acting as a pad on the bottom of the IC. So these are all packages, and the aim of the package is to protect it from environmental hazards. The IC chip will be protected from environmental hazards. With this, we come to the end of the stages in IC preparation, and we will see other things related to IC in another video. Thank you all.